Welcoming all to the next episode of our recruitment webinar. This time we have a interesting topic in our plate, Unearth Unconventional for Talent Role. So when we say Unearth, okay, what do we actually do? When we say unconventional, are we actually breaking something that we've been following on a conventional mode throughout the talent search? What all things that we actually do? To have this discussion with us, we have two of the industry experts from the HR background today. I would like to invite Ms. Samata Balal from Bewakoof. I would like to invite Mr. Mohan Sitaram from Shadowfax. So they are here with us today. Thank you, Mr. Mohan, for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Samata. Thank you for joining us. So before we kick off the discussion, I'll just give a quick, maybe a 30-second intro of both. Ms. Samata has more than about 18 years of experience in the HR domain, and she's currently been with Bewakoof for more than 2+ years. Mr. Mohan Sitaram has more than 18 years of experience in the HR industry, and he's been with Shadowfax for more than about a year. And just to give a quick intro about me, I'm the Chief Strategy Officer of TeamLease Services, and I'm going to be the moderator for Mr. Mohan and Mr. Samata. So with this, we'll directly get on to the conversation part. Maybe when we all say that, okay, recruitment is a key factor for all the business, because when you bring the right business, when you bring the right people, the business also blossoms in the same way, in multifolds. So now with this, we don't want to get into the normal mode of basic level of, basics of recruitment. Rather, I would like to pose my first question to Mr. Mohan. Specifically, in a logistic organization, there are so many resistance where people will have to join. Oh, okay, am I a delivery boy? Okay, what is that actually going to do? I'm going to do a transactional work. So our question is to him is to understand how do we actually bring in the humility and pride within those people whom we are actually recruiting for. So Mr. Mohan, I thought, okay, we'll actually take your views and insights.
Sure. Thanks. Thanks for getting me into this. I'm humbled to be part of your webinar. Now, let me call out one aspect. In logistics piece, the people who deliver are not hired by us. They are all gig workers, and they operate as an outcome-based model, right? So you don't hire, or probably we try to retain, though we don't hire delivery boys. We hire it through this thing. They are not employees or off-role employees. Having said that, your question is very, very valid. When they are the key for our business to flourish, how do we build pride or humility in corporate employees about what delivery boys do? At Shadowfax, we do something called #IAlsoDeliver, where every head office employee from CEO to a management trainee will have to deliver 15 shipments in a quarter. So you will see on our LinkedIn, people go to hubs and we carry bags and we deliver. When you do that, there are two things which happen. A, you understand the life of a rider. You understand the challenges he would face and what can you do at the strategic level to make his life better. At the same time, there is also one more thing happens wherein you build pride among the riders to say that what I'm doing is important because the CEO of the company is also sitting and delivering with me. Every new joinee in the organization will have to go and deliver for a day. And it is mandatory, because if you do not understand the pain of the ground, you cannot sit in the AC room and define strategy. The last piece, apart from the pride, is that you break that barrier to say that my role is this, I can't be doing that. That gets broken. And every professional in an organization will start thinking that his skills and the role is fungible. If I can go deliver, I don't need to do only HR, I can probably do marketing tomorrow. I can probably do something else tomorrow. So that is what happens. So multifold, A, it brings pride in the mind of the delivery boy. B, it builds humility in the corporate guy. And C, the the assumption between the ground and the so-called the ivory tower gets broken, and people know exactly what happens on the ground, and we make their life a little easier.
Great, Mr. Mohan. In fact, we have seen some of the articles carrying or newspaper doing a marketing that okay, the CEO of the organization was the driver for this particular their domain. We have seen that kind of a thing, but I never heard that. Okay, shadow facts. Every employee has to undergo 50 shipment. That's something that's really interesting, and this actually sets the context for people to actually understand that okay, fine. If all my core employees of the organization are actually going to do this, that actually sets a great pride, and everybody knows the challenges. Oh, that's really interesting because
So I hashtag I also deliver is not one-time activity. It is a quarterly activity because life is not static. So every quarter you got to go there, be consistent. So you will not see CEO's photo once. You will see him every quarter delivering.
oh, amazing. This is a very interesting perspective because there are various ways to actually keep the employees motivated and give them here. It's like okay, not only a gyan, but then you actually lead from the front, and that too from the CEO level. That makes a lot of difference. Superb. In fact, some of these strategies actually, because we know that okay, we are dealing with people who are like very agile. They can shift the jobs like all of a sudden, but then the moment they actually get all these things into themselves, it's a great thing. So just one more question adding on to this. When they get onboarded, what kind of an induction that is actually being given? Because when you want to bring this pride, how does the day one, these are some of the things, will these things be communicated to them? Just
When you are talking about the corporate employees when they get onboarded,
uh,
or the delivery boys when they get onboarded.
delivery related
Well,
more.
delivery boys are more skilled than us any day. Let's be super clear about it. I have done in your intro. You told me that I've spent more than 18 years. Actually, last 25 years I've been doing only HR, and I do not think that I'm very good at it. But my delivery boy is very good at what he does. So he clearly understands what he has to do, and he's much superior than what I can do, right? But having said that, so he knows his job. But what we need to onboard people is about the processes and the specific way of doing it in each organization. And this is a tech based solution. Everything is on the app. The delivery boys app has everything he needs. So what we do is that there is a section there which we call Gurukul, and Gurukul constantly communicate bite-sized training on the process, on the culture, on what is expected out of him, and how does he manage his day. So that Gurukul gets pushed to his cell phone. So while he's waiting for between delivery to delivery, or whenever he has time, he gets to read that, and we gets to see those videos and learn, not read. So, and we centrally track the consumption of data here and nudge those delivery boys, those riders, those partners, delivery partners, to see more videos, learn more things. That is the way it is, not only on the day of onboarding, but we continue their journey of scaling knowledge.
Super. No, I think it's a wonderful insight in terms of the induction because not many people know. They even if I actually speak to somebody, a third person, they all think that okay, the delivery boys are actually pushed to the water on the day one. That's what they actually think. Great insights, Mr. Mohan. With this, I'll move on my next question to Ms. Samantha. While we all know that Devako is an online e-commerce platform, uh, we may not know what kind of challenge that you actually face through in terms of your recruitments. So maybe if I have to sum up, if I ask you to sum up maybe the challenges or the difficulties that you face to get the right talent for you, because e-commerce platform is like e-commerce is actually like a competitive environment at this point of time, operating with the thin margins everywhere. So your views and insights, Samantha.
Sure. I think, as we were discussing some time back, Subbu, Beefcoof does product and product, right? So what I mean by that is product from an IT perspective, which has that e-commerce platform, and we sell our goods through it. We also sell other quirky goods through brands on Beefcoof. We support small businesses to sell their brands as well, which are quirky in nature. It is for the people with the quirkiness in them, irrespective of the age. So I think that's something that we do. The other product that we do in-house is our shirts, our joggers, our mobile covers. I think a complete range of things, right from bags to caps to the small gadgets that people like. I think those products are made in-house. So that itself, uh, product and product both being there, does require people with that kind of a passion in making the product and selling it online. It is completely online as of today. And the difficulty really comes from, in my words, I would actually say that, nothing is difficult. Everything can be solutioned. Having said that, defining what we want, right? What's the kind of talent we want? Whether somebody, like for example, we want somebody to style, right? Styling is an important skill. So before the shoots are done and the products are put in a catalog, uh, should a styling be done by somebody who's experienced, or should a styling can be done by somebody who's fresher, or who is having just 1 or 2 years experience, right? Who can bring in the right styling? I think the difficulty is in that, in determining that how do we keep up with the aggressively changing, fast-moving world, and with the definition of quirky, right? Right from streetwear to the hip hop culture, to something that is famous in a movie, to the achievements that India achieves. So, how do we get people who are passionate about various of these and yet are able to deliver? So, I think for us, the difficulty becomes not in skill, because skill can be trained. The difficulty of selection becomes in the will of a person, and the difficulty of selection becomes in the cultural value of the person. So defining some of these, having assessments done on this, and making sure that there is a debrief before every hire is done, is a constant effort that we put to make sure that we get the right talent inside the company. Because for us, I think that passionate individual and the right fit becomes very, very important.
Very interesting and a different perspective, because here, more than recruitment, I think the person who is recruiting should be more creative, I guess, to identify the right talent, because I could find that as a more challenge that is coming on your way. Because the way when you're talking, it's like, okay, identifying the passion, because today some of these things can't be actually been like faked. When I say faked, the passion has to come out. So, and to identify passion, that itself is actually a talent. Oh yeah, really interesting. And I'm sure with all the seasonal things coming up, the products that you actually manufacture, I think it looks like you will have a great time, and I think that will have a correlation to Mr. Mohan's as business as well.
Oh, absolutely. And for us, it is more like, um, I would not be wrong to say that our business runs and we do well because of passionate individuals in the company. And while it is difficult to deal with the cycle time of recruitment, uh, yet get a passionate, skilled person, that's a definite challenge in today's market. We are okay to skip tax to make sure that we get the right talent, because that's something that is a very conscious decision that we have taken, saying that while we require the hands on the deck, we require passionate minds on the deck as well. That's a difficult call we've made, and it's amazing to see how the complete company is aligned and focused on that.
Oh, great, great. So when you are actually saying that, okay, yeah, you're willing to sacrifice on the tats, I can understand your patience level to actually get the right talent. Now I have a
Absolutely.
contrasting question to Mr. Mohan. Here comes a situation where you have to get onto it everything with the TAT, and here she's actually talking about okay compromising on the TAT but to get the right talent. So what do you experience with that? Just your insights, a quick maybe a brief things from you, Mr.
No,
Mohan.
well, I 100% agree with her and echo what she's saying. Every organization needs something which is the baseline, right? Which is a spinal cord. The business Bewkoof is in of creating quirky things, and that is where they are creating niche. They definitely need passion. For example, the business we are in, probably just to tell you that I get sold when people are invested in their health. Okay, so just making a point that if you are invested in health, there are a couple of radio boxes which are checked off. You are highly tenacious, you are highly competitive, you are highly disciplined, you are, and you have that not giving up attitude. So we are hiring you for attitude, and I can teach you skills. Skills. Gone are the days where people were hired for skills. As she aptly puts it, you are hired for the attitude you bring to the table, which I can't teach you, and definitely we can skill you. So that is the point she's making, and I echo with her.
Oh, superb, superb. I think more or less now we are coming to a kind of a conclusion. Well, the TAT and other stuff are slightly different, but then the quality that we expect is actually important. And the attitude, what you are actually looking for, you are strongly confident that okay, you'll be able to skill them up, what is required. I think it's a great point. Okay, so now before me actually asking on a very regular mode, I have something to share. Maybe from there we'll actually pick up a discussion over there. Maybe just
Sure.
bear with me for about 30 seconds. I'm just going to share the pictorial form. So, Mr. Mohan, this question
Thank
to you.
you.
Yeah. So, while the question is there, okay, the best practice in retaining, I'll just set a platform to this. Sometime back, couple of maybe aggregators, they actually set something called rest areas. Because, for example, places like Delhi during summer or maybe Chennai almost at least for the 8-10 months, uh, people who are working in this fashion, uh, the organization has taken care for them by just setting up something called as a rest area so that they can actually come relax for some time because they need some kind of attention because wherever they go, their work gets over, they move on. But so those kind of things were actually being given for them so that they get motivated to stay. So in our scenarios, what all do you think that okay we are actually gone maybe an extra mile in terms of doing such things, Mr. Mohan? I just thought okay.
You know,
Well,
I'm sorry, I'm probably slightly differing from the cream on the cake, right? So the cream on the cake, no matter what you do, you can do more. But what are the fundamentals? What is the base? Is actually people work for you for three reasons. They work for you for good work, good money, good manager. Okay, if you take away one of that, people will leave you. So if you get these fundamentals right, good work, how do you create good works? You know, I may not have something as interesting, as quirky as Bewkoof, but in a way, you know, let me take the analogy, right? Your competence, assuming, is the size of your foot. And since she is from the e-com space, I'm taking a fashion example. So if your competence is the size of a foot and the expected role is the size of a shoe, right? So if your foot size is 7, I give you a 10 size shoe, you will trip and fall.
right.
You cannot manage a role which is much larger than your competence. On the other hand, if your foot size again is 7 and I give you a 5 size shoe, you get a shoe bite. You find it claustrophobic to work in that room. So it is very important as leaders, as HR people, we got to be constantly measuring the size of the foot, which is the size, which is the competence of the person, and define a role which challenges cerebrally the person, at the same time he or she can deliver. That is the good work. Good money, there is no end. How much ever you pay me, I need more. And you need to be, however, competitive in the market. You can't be underpaid in the market. And the last thing, which is the most important aspect, is the good manager. Can you create that layer of managers who are invested in people as people, or do you think uh, my team are resources? There is a very big difference between thinking someone is a resource. My computer is a resource, my phone is a resource, my table chairs are resource, but my team are people. They are my people, they are not resources. So if you can build that layer of managers who invest in the teams as their own people, uh, you don't have a problem of retaining. So these are the three fundamental things I would think of. And everything else, resting space, bonus for Diwali, song and dance once in a way, all that is good, but that will not help me to retain a person. But these three things help me to retain a person.
Very true, very true. In fact, while the theory says actually a lot of things, but then ground level we are actually seeing the reality. Work, money, manager. I think you got a principle into it, Mr. Mohan, and that's absolutely true for everyone. Not only at the such a junior level, people who are actually over there. It's a common concept, and it's a very important concept for everyone. If that is taken care, a lot of things actually is being still taken care. And people who are working at the ground level and they don't actually have a feel of the office, if that comfort is being given, I think they stay connected to the organization.
Super.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
agree. It has nothing to do with my delivery partner. It has got to do with you and I. We work for only these three reasons.
Yeah,
Uh, you know, uh, if my job does not challenge me cerebrally, I don't think I would like to be in that role, being in a plateaued way.
yeah.
You got to constantly look for something which challenges you. That's what gives you the thrill. Of course, money and good manager follow.
Right. So I have my next question to Samatha, again a pictorial form. I'll share that here. And
Okay.
here we go. So why I thought of actually putting up an e-commerce platform picture. Then I thought, okay, fine.
Yeah.
From your perspective, you have different ways, and the requirement is completely different. You need people to be so much creative. So are we getting such kind of a talent, and what are your approach towards it, our strategies towards that? That's the question we thought, okay, we will actually take your insights, sometime.
Sure. So I think talent pool, very frankly, Subbu, is never a challenge, right? I think at least in India, I should be able to safely say that talent pool at 80% of the case is never a challenge. Now, getting the passionate talent pool that will fit your value system and culture is a big challenge. It's always a challenge. Okay, so I think that's how I would want to place it. And now, why will I don't want to go a little to and fro with the question that you were asking, Mr. Mohan, also. So now, how do you make so, for example, there is always a buyer's market and a seller's market. So, similarly, in recruitment, there is an employees market and the employers market, right? I very strongly believe that irrespective of what the situation is, always make it an employees market, the candidates market. You know, make the candidate feel in demand, uh, feel very important, and give them that kind of an experience, because it's very important to value what they can bring inside the company. It's if at Bevkuf we very strongly believe in respecting people, and that respect starts from inside out and outside in. It can't be that just because there is enough people for a particular role, you can choose to take that lightly. And if there is any skill, there is not enough people, then you do overdo of respect. That's also not something that I encourage. So I think it's more about treating people fairly, treating people respectfully, irrespective. And how do you now make it a candidates market is by telling them okay, what are the benefits you get inside the company? Not only in terms of the three key important things that Mr. Mohan touched upon, but also in terms of the work environment. So we are a company who has no dress code policy. So we can't be a fashion tech company and say we have a dress code policy, you wear this dress today, right? So we are completely like, wear whatever you feel like wearing.
As long as you buy it from Bekoof.
Not really. So we do have something like eat your own cooking, buy it from Bevco. What you make, you also relish it. But at
Interesting.
the same time, we don't really uh, push for it. So people are okay to wear ethnic, they're okay to wear formals, they're okay to wear Western, they're okay to wear casuals. People can come in shorts, they can come in sari. Everything is completely okay.
Okay.
So I think, so we have this absolutely no dress code policy, which I think aids and aids a quirky mind, aids a innovative culture, right? And all our policies are defined in that way, and that's what makes an attraction point for the candidates, right? Because we are sort of let loose. We don't want to restrict things. So we don't have a JD which says your job ends here and the other person's job starts from the other point, right? We basically say, hey, this is what you are responsible and accountable for, and finally we want to get X done. So how we all get it done together is what matters, because that's what passionate people want. So we can't define the JD as we want passionate people and not give an environment for it. So I think, so a lot of things that we do is by defining SOPs versus guidelines versus policies. So policies are way too few. SOPs and guidelines are way too high. Because we believe that it's subject to change. It's just a guideline. We believe this is how it should run. But if you think it differs in your department, we are completely okay to it. So
Superb, superb. Sorry,
now
sorry.
coming
Continue. Yeah.
yeah, now coming to hiring per se, right? So the difficulties in hiring. I think getting this talent, which is skilled to close to 75-80%. You can, because we always have this delivery challenges, right? To be very realistic, you can bridge a certain percentage by teaching on the job, but people start working from day 2, day 3, right? So that's something that we want to make sure that there is a good 80% fitment, and there is a mindset of an online business with people. So for us, people having an e-commerce mindset becomes a very important. So you could be in very different departments, but if you think that your cloth is finally going to be in a shelf of a store, that's not what it is. It's going to be cataloged in a web page, and it's going to get delivered directly. There's a good chance it will get rejected and there will be size changes. So the operations person needs to be that much more open to changing the shirts multiple times, sending the right one. There needs to be continuous improvement orientation for people to, so we can't have people who get fatigued or angry, right? Because the customers and their expectations only keep increasing. We have competitors who will only keep increasing the bar. And our job is to also only keep increasing the bar for the competitors. So in that kind of a space, I think it becomes very, very important that you have people who are agile, at the same time who are up for it, right? Who are up for doing it the 100th time. So I think that becomes a very, very important parameter that we review when we are hiring. And getting this kind of a mindset and keeping people tuned in this kind of a mindset is the most difficult part of hiring. So getting the skill, I would still think that, respectfully, India is an amazing talent pool. We have great talent here. But getting people who are agile, who can be quirky, who fall under the same umbrella of value systems and have those, passion that is driving them. I think that becomes very important for us. And that's the difficulty, putting the combination together is the difficulty. From a strategy perspective, identifying the right panel to take this interview, identifying the right questions, being open to changing the JD. For example, as we are hiring, there's a lot of times it so happens that, over time you realize that, hey, this is not a manager level role. Somebody junior can deliver it much better, right? And there are sometimes it so happens that we realize that, hey, this is not something that a junior can deliver. We would want somebody who has experience in what we are expecting. So while we say we are open to learning, open to change, also keeping that true at the job market to make sure that the right fitment happens and people come in is another strategy that we use. So we are sort of open to, couple of changes in the JD through the hiring cycle. Of course, it's not very fluid. It's not like change every day, but couple of changes we are completely a game to. We absolutely don't mind that at all. And the third thing is, we do a mandated HR interview and a debrief after that. So everything that maybe a business round doesn't cover, the human ground and human round covers it. So we sort of make sure that the passion, culture, the value systems are discussed, and we see a fitment whether somebody coming in would gel in well. And without hesitance, my teams share this feedback with business leaders. And it is given so much importance that, if two people disagree, it's not based on who is sitting in a larger chair who calls the shot. It's based on a debrief where we objectively put in the positives and negatives and then take a call. So it's a collective call versus who is in charge and who is taking the call. So I think that those are some very subtle, soft practices that we've put in place that helps us overcome these challenges.
While you're saying soft practices, Samantha, I think this is a great practice. I think for me, coming from a sales background, it looks like, okay, identifying a problem statement in a client place and then giving a right solution without actually positioning yourself and then trying to brief, okay, what has actually happened? How do you, amazing. When you're actually doing everything in a recruitment process, I think, in fact, when you were explaining, I could see that passion with you. The way you were actually articulating, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, these are things. In fact, more than identifying the resource, I think more than you actually spend more time in terms of identifying the resource who's going to interview them, how they are and what they are and what they are capable to read between the lines. It's just like amazing. The first one that you spoke about on policies, it has kind of continuation towards from Mr. Mohan's thought process. The work, money and manager looks like, okay, next comes the policies. In fact, in one of the other episodes, Samantha, we were actually talking about how the organizations are actually stuck between the past and not able to take a right call for the future. Exactly on similar lines, which is actually, we call it as a multi-generational workforce, what is actually coming in. And when you want to woo the talent of what is actually with the new age talent, I think whatever that you are doing is like great. I'm sure whoever listens this, and if they're in that age group, they will look forward. Oh, okay, fine. I think it will be a great opportunity to work with you. So I think that's the kind of culture that you have, and you are actually pursuing it. And it's a great example to lead from the front of your industry of what you are, how you attract the right talent for yourself. So it's a great insights from you, Samantha. Mr. Mohan, do you have any questions?
After her pitch, it has nothing to do with age group. You and I should be looking for jobs in her team. It's so impressive to say that. I would think that every day it is called an employee market. If that is the philosophy with which she is starting her first step, I'm sure it's a great set of guys to work with. She just hit it on the bullseye. I think phenomenal pitch. One small thing I wanted to add to the question which you were asking on how do we hire. Honestly, this is not any time tested, but uh, all my life I worked for technology companies. This is the first time I'm working for a logistics company. And technology is ever changing, and whatever was relevant yesterday is not relevant today. And it is continuously we are seeing this change, which is not agile, but it is actually disrupting on a weekly, monthly basis. So I do not know. Wherever I speak at the HR forums, I keep telling them that everything outside the window has changed. But look inside the room, there are many things which have not changed. We as HR guys. So what Samatha is doing is phenomenal that way. She's talking completely different language than what typically HR people talk. And personally, I'm struggling with how do we be ready for tomorrow as a team, which we do not know what we are doing. So I've started hiring unusual people. I'm not hiring any more HR people in the team. Actually, I'm hiring engineers in my team. I'm hiring, I have a lady who is doing her PhD in dance. She is doing a research between Kathak and Bharatnatyam, and I've hired her to be in HR basically because if not anything, I definitely know that computer cannot replace her. Bot or chat GPT cannot replace her. So trying to learn HR from unusual sources is helping me. In every meeting, I get her to sit, and she has a completely different perspective from what we HR guys talk about, and she is nudging us to learn. So that is one of the practices I thought I'll call out because you are talking about recruitment. But Samatha, fantastic. You are you have just got it so perfectly right, 10 on 10. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mohan. I think Subbu and Mohan, you've been more than kind to me today.
No, the practices, whatever that you are actually talking about is actually that is what market expects, and specifically the candidate expects. As you rightly said, you are actually putting it up from a candidate's perspective. That's where you actually got into that position, and not many are actually able to think into this because we are stuck between the past conservative and the futuristic. Somewhere, okay, which side to take a call? I think if you already progress there and your passion is seen with what you have executed, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's a great insight, Samatha. In fact, you actually kind of touched upon the subject that we were planning to talk the next one, which is the kind of a onboarding. What kind of a benefits that we actually provide, how we actually onboard some of the stuff. I think you kind of answered that as well, because some of these things actually helps people to be okay. Because I'm sure here many organizations will face this. Suppose if 10 are being selected, the onboarding happens only for about 7 or 8. Maybe through that process something actually drops out. But with your logic, I think you might get a bullseye, 100 or 100%.
No, we do face dropouts also. Let me be very honest about it. We do have
Still,
dropouts.
see,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
it is a very competitive market, and we don't believe in consistent negotiation based on some candidate having 2 3 offers. We are very sure about what's the role and what's our budget for it, and as a business what we can afford. I think we are true to business. So finally, as much as candidate and people are important, we are all here to do business. So the PNL is equally important, right? So we do have those dropouts. Sometimes we feel sad about it that we lost a great candidate, but that's what the industry is facing. So we do have that, but just to make sure that the candidate is engaged and is passionate about BevCo. Because somebody who negotiates continuously is definitely not passionate, right? It's a wrong assessment, so we are okay with losing that candidate. But just to make sure that we feed into the process. Uh, on joining, right, we actually, not on joining, on offer acceptance, we actually give people uh, 500 points in Wavecoof wallet. So
nice.
people have to actually go and check out the merchandise and they can shop something using that, right? So I think that's something that we do so that their interest in the organization remains. A lot of times I've had people telling me on day one saying that we should make this kind of a quality of shirt, right? Or why are we not having X color? That's a color in trend, so we should get that X color. So I think some of these is something that passionate people talk about. They may be doing operations, they may be in customer support, they may not be in design, but they will still talk the color language, the fabric language, right? And I think that's something that we sort of encourage during onboarding. The managers and the HRs are consistently in touch to make sure that the candidate is comfortable and he or she completely understands. And there are any doubts that they have on the benefits, we sort of sort it out. So I think these are the efforts we make, because of which we have close to 80% conversion. The market's running around 33% dropouts. So we are running around 20% dropouts. So that's something that we sort of try to do. But yeah, we still suffer the dropout issues.
I can understand. Maybe as a last question, Ms. Mohan, on the similar kind of a dropouts, what are your maybe thought process into this to avoid, um, specifically in terms of actually giving the right onboarding experience so that people don't feel, because at times this becomes an important nature. Even the word that you speak, how they perceive matters. If they perceive it in a different way, it actually goes, because there could be some individual who would have not actually got into a pressure if they say that, okay, tomorrow morning 9 o'clock, you have to report. The way you speak also at times it actually matters for them when it is the first time for people. So your thoughts, Mr. Mohan?
Sure. So there are two different things probably in your question. One is that does dropouts hurt me? That has nothing to do with onboarding because he didn't even turn up. So and the challenges of onboarding. So there, honestly, there is no silver bullet here. You can list down 10 things and try and do all 10 things right. But having said that, there are a couple of things which you have forgotten and which has crossed the mind of the candidate and he decides not to join. So but however, the point you are making is valid. The whole experience process of from the time the candidate till the offer till the date he joined, if that experience has been good, the possibility of the guy joining or the lady joining us is high. So you can only influence the experience, you cannot influence anything beyond that. There is something called ecosystem, right? As she was aptly saying, there is 70, only 7 out of 10 people join you, 3 do not join you, but it is okay. It is absolutely okay to move on and figure out. It hurts. As long as you have planned it well, you are good. So we call it, just to answer that question, we call it what we call post offer follow up, wherein there are people like basketball, we attach specific people to specific candidates. So you are mapping them till they join. And then there is a review which happens every weekend. Friday evening, we have a stand up to figure out how many are reds, how many are greens, how many are ambers. So the red cases, you have already taken a call. You have multiple initiatives without getting into it. Did we have coffee together? Did he attend that? Did he read this material? We push things in the example she was giving. If I've given you 500 rupees currency, did you use it on my site? Have you used it yet? Haven't used it? All this will tell you whether the person may join or may not join. It is speculative in nature to some extent, but you predict reasonably okay to say that these are ambers, these are reds. So it is not that I can influence to a great extent. I cannot move from 70 or 80% to 100%. It is not going to happen, right? So what only thing I can do is that am I better planned? So 2 weeks before the person joins, do I know that he may not join, or do I know that he will not join? Then I know what is my plan B. Simple as that. And again, borrowing one of the lines she called out, there is dearth of qualified talent, but there is no dearth of talent in this country. And there are talent lakes which are untapped so completely. So if you for a minute ignore skill, and I tell you that I can teach you skill, then you can tap into the next plan B, plan C, and you can go and hire them 2 weeks ahead before they know before I know that the person is not going to join. So it is the plan B kicks in, plan C kicks in. That is a part of uh, conversion ratio or whatever offer to joining piece of it. How do we manage that risk? And the second piece which you are asking is that how do you onboard people? It is like the first love, right? It is very important that the day when the person comes, does he feel wowed through and through? Very, very basics again. I'm sorry, I'm sounding like a school teacher talking fundamentals. Many times when we join an organization, we don't know what to do during the day. Apart from super boring ESI gratuity forms which we need to sign, which is terribly boring, and it can wait for the day two. I do not know why do HR guys push it on day one, but that's very boring. So what we do is that on the day of joining, we keep asking ourselves minute by minute, is the experience engaging? If I've checked it off that you didn't have to wait in any conference room for any minute during the day, was it packed and engaging and was it fun? Uh, your job is done. I can always get you to sign gratuity forms the next day morning. So we push some of the things to the days which should not be on the day one. And day one, we make it so entertaining, so much fun, so many videos, so many conversations, free lunch, conversation, all that good things we do on day one. And day two is when the boring things start slowly setting in, and that is the life after that, right? But what is the challenge I'm facing? I'm predominantly Bangalore based guy. I manage the organization is Bangalore based. People who join in Bangalore, we create great experience, but we struggle to create similar consistent experience somewhere remotely. Somebody is joining a small village called Batilda in Punjab. I struggle to create that experience, and invariably I see people who have joined the head office stay with me for longer time. That is the first love part of it which I was talking about. And people who joined remotely, where I myself know that the experience was not up to mark, I lose them on a long run. Those are the two different pieces of your question.
No. I think thanks for clarifying, because obviously it is a drop off is actually a different ball game, and then dealing with such scenarios and onboarding them. Yeah. I think well articulated, Mr. Mohan. So I think with this, we come to the end of this particular episode. There were a lot of takeaways. I think interesting conversations. I think the passionate conversation itself is actually giving me so much of energy. So one specifically from the way how we started with I still can actually the four things that I can actually sum it up as like work, money, manager, policies, because I'm actually linking both. And I think people who listen to this will definitely gain a lot of experiential knowledge from you both. It was a very knowledgeable session for me as well. And I wish to look forward for maybe one more engaging episode like this in the future as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Mohan. Thank you so much, Samata.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Subbu, and
Thanks
great
for
meeting
your
you,
time.
Mohan.
Thank you. Thank you, Samata. Great evening.